This is a group 11 for this data visualization class. We are Vikas, Mojoji, and Subhas today presenting this presentation about the data visualization. Use of the topic of our project is use of data visualization to understand the environmental events and hazards around the world. Let's get into it. So first, let's get into data visualization. So in brief, data visualization is the presentation of data in a pictorial or graphical format, which helps in decision making, and it's easy to understand difficult concepts and identify new patterns. Also, it also helps to understand historic data and future predictions, and use those historic data in future and in the decision making process. Data visualization uses charts, graphs, and maps. And some examples of data visualization tools are Tableau, QuickView, Google Charts, and Excel. Today we're gonna talk about gonna talk about Tableau and Google Analytics. So first, let's get into Tableau. Tableau is a software which is used as data visualization. It is very famous software right now. Most of the companies and enterprises are using this tool for data visualization. It was founded in 2003 in Mountain View, California. It helps to queries relational database, OLAP queues, cloud database, and spreadsheets, and get the data from there to present the visualization. It also has the mapping functionality, which can plot the latitudes and longitudes. If you have a map and you want to see the different data distribution between different regions or countries, you can use that map functionality. There are five ways to access this Tableau. There are desktop, server, online, reader, and public. Among all these, two of them are free. Reader and public are free to use for public. So let's get into the objectives of our presentations. So this presentation and the research project, our objective was to research the current use of data visualization in various environmental events like drought, flooding, earthquake, and hurricanes. So these researches are not limited to these environmental events, but we have also done researches on the earthquakes and oil spill and the dust. So other objectives was to review current techniques that are used in data visualization. We'll try to recommend some improvement of current techniques and ideas, and we'll also explore the integration of Tableau and Google Analytics. So method used in this research, we have gathered some current and historic data from various sources. We went to different websites, the official websites like NASA and Weather Channel to get the data, and we study different types of charts and visualization like heat maps, bubble charts, flow charts, and motion charts uh, that can describe the story. We also explore the new technologies and method to share information that can prevent these casualties. At the end, we also try to explore some features of Tableau that we can work with Google Analytics. Some of the case studies that can help us to understand the historic patterns and predict the future about our environment. We have included some case studies like sea level rise, well tanker spill statics, where we went through all the data and get the data about the well spill in the various parts of the world, and other global natural disasters. We also did the research about the global natural disasters and the deaths caused by these disasters. And I also went in Afghanistan to find out some data about the natural disaster like earthquake and flood in Afghanistan, and try to come up with some kind of visualization. The very first case study was the study of the sea level. Uh, so the primary cases of sea levels are melting of ice sheets and the expansion of seawater due to the heat or the temperature. So you're studying that this sea level data and the visualization can help to educate people about the dangerous future that can be helpful for different industries to reduce the pollution and also understand the impact of global warming and other factors that affect the sea level. So this data was obtained from NASA. Let's go to the visualization that we have saved in the public Tableau public. So this is a trend of the sea level rises in millimeter. We have data from 1993 till 2017. So we can see that sea level is always increasing, and there was some reduction in sea level between 1997 and 1998, and similarly in 2009 and 2010. But ever since the sea level is growing rapidly, so it's very important to reduce global warming and help the sea level go to its previous position. That is the screenshot of the visualization of sea level that we just talked about. And the other case study we did was about the dust in the wind data visualization. We are not able to. I wasn't able to get any data for this, but we went through the research. We went to the literature research and tried to figure out what is causing this dust in the and air pollution. So there was a NASA satellite, Calypso satellite, which performed a study about the dust that was moving from the Sahara deserts to different part of the Africa. So it helped to understand the impact of air pollution and the path of that Saharan dust. So according to the research, 1 in 8 people in the world die from the exposure to air pollution, and it is very critical to reduce this pollution. This visualization that was given in this article was developed in collaboration of data scientists, developers, and environmental journalists around the world. So now I would like to give Suvas an opportunity to go through other slides and present his research.
Hi, everybody. This is Suvash. Thank you, Vikas, for the introduction. Continuing on what Vikas started, we did research on the oil tank spill. It was kind of hard to get the data. We got our records, the data from the International Tanker Owners Pollution Federation. So since we couldn't extract the data, we had to manually go and put in the data into an Excel sheet. We prepared the data for analysis. So this is the information that we came up from the records, and these are the conclusions that we made. So the majority of the tanker spill happened in the late 70s. And in the context of quantity, that happened mostly in European countries. The biggest tanker oil leak took place of Tobago, it's West Indies in 1979. But I think with the modern technologies in the transportation and how they handle the oil and things like that, the tanker oil spill happening less frequently. I can show that in the visualization as well. Let's go to the link. All right, so here we have this Tableau public where we share the visualization. As you can see here, it is categorized based on the oil spill that is less than 700 tons and greater than 700 tons. And if you can see here in 1975 and 1980s time, before 1990s, and there were more tanker oil spill. and later after 1990s, the spill kind of went down. So they are doing a much better job in not spilling the oils. And these are the areas around the history of a time that we have data of. The most oil spill that took place is in the European and Mediterranean area. And this is the West Indies area where the largest oil spill took place. And if you can see, spill oil per year, we have 1979 and 1991 as the year of major oil spills. So, yeah, let's get back to the slide here. So that's the conclusion on our oil tanker spill statistics. That's what the data we came up with. A good thing is the oil spill is happening much less than it used to be. So this is just a screenshot here of the same screen I just shared with you. So we did some research on the natural disasters. Well, as far as we can go in history, I was able to gather and retrieve some data from this website. It's called the World in Data. There was a article by Max Roser and Hannah Ritchie on natural catastrophes. They have some good data in their website. So I was able to get some CSV files with the data and was able to do some analysis. So these are some conclusions or stats and trends that I could come up with. So the occurrence of natural disasters increased with time in history. It could be because the disaster were monitored later in time as technology became more able to do so, or maybe there were more human activities that causing more natural disasters. With the records that we have, the year 2000 saw the highest number of all the natural disasters, and cost-wise 2011 was the highest year with economic damage from natural disaster. I think it'll be better if I just go to the link here, go over the data. So yeah, here you can see the global natural disasters trained by numbers. So in 1900s, there wasn't much. It was 12, 5, very less, maybe because they were recording less or whatever the reason is. But in 2000, all the combined number of natural disasters, 2000 had the highest number of disasters for 526. And in the same time, even it was a lot of natural disaster took place there, it didn't cost as much. Well, it was quite a lot. It's like $46 billion that it cost. But 2011 was the most costliest with $364 billion in economic damage. So here you can go and look into which disasters cost damage for how much. Like earthquake in 2011, it cost like $230 billion. That's we can go to a few more, like flood. See how flood. As you can see, mostly in the 1990s and 2000s, we can see the higher value in the cost-wise, or the number of events that took place. We can see more of those happening, and more are happening in the 21st century. So back to all natural. So the frequency of disasters, it seems that since 1900, flood has happened 4,851 times, and extreme weather was 4,045 times. And the cost-wise, extreme weather costs quite a lot. That's a lot of numbers there. I think it's like $1 trillion. More than $1 trillion caused by extreme weather, and then flood, and followed by earthquake. And decades by disaster count, I kind of aggregated this years in decades. And the decade of 2000 had the most disaster with 8,940 times. So that's the global natural disasters trend by numbers and costs. This is just a screenshot of the same screen. So with the data we had, we did the analysis of the casualties in the global scale from the natural disasters. And I can show it here. So disaster human impact. So I kind of get them separated based on the affected number of people. What that means is how many people needed emergency assistance or basic needs and things like that, and how many people were injured in an event, and total number of deaths in an event. So if you can see here, this is like the combination of all the natural disaster. So in 1920, 1930, we had a higher number of deaths. That's 3.7 million deaths in that year. Very less infected and affected. So as you can see here, in the 1900s, before that time, right there, 1950s and 60s, and there were a lot of casualties, a lot of deaths from natural disaster. But down the line here, in the recent days, the death number has reduced quite a lot. So I think it's maybe because we are more advanced now with the technology and stuff, more medical, effectiveness, and more medicine, and more, rescue operations and things like that, probably reduce the number there. However, injuries are high and affected number of people are high. I guess that's because we have a lot of people now in the world. So here, global deaths, drought. Okay, so drought seemed to have caused a lot of death of 11 million people, and epidemic and flood had some big numbers as well, 96 million there. And the injury was caused mostly by earthquake, which kind of makes sense. And extreme temperature and extreme weather, and here the affected people mostly by the flood, which affected 3.6 billion people, followed by drought and extreme weather. So this is from the record from 1900s to all the way to 2017. So that's a lot of numbers that added up here. And here we can go and then filter with other events. As you can see, earthquake have a uniform pattern here with regarding death. But yeah, you can kind of like go around here and then do your own analysis. Flood. Go back to the slides here. So yeah, this is pretty much I'm talking about the same visualization like the result we have. 3.5 billion being affected by the flood, and earthquake has caused the maximum number of injuries and things like that. just a screenshot. So here we have we had some data in US, the weather events, which included, hurricanes and tornadoes, flooding, earthquake, things like that. So there's nothing much to work around with this data, so I kind of put them all together here. And the interesting thing about this slide was the death per million for lightning. So it seems like there are a lot of people being killed by lightning back in 1900s, all the way up to 1940s. Even now, there are people dying off of lightning. Let me put lightning here quick. So yeah, so out of a million, there are still 0.084 people dying in 2015 from lightning. But back in the days, seems like people were dying quite a lot out of lightning. I don't know why. So I think the data that we have is for all the other events are started here at 1940. This one shows for flood. So a lot of people died in 1972 of floods. So yeah, that's pretty much gives you the kind of overview of all the weather events that cause deaths per million. You can see here hurricane and heat and tornado. These are the most the major weather events that are causing more deaths in recent history compared to other events. And you can see here flood is kind of up on the rise in 2015. It's kind of going up. So yeah, this data can give us the idea which weather events are occurring more frequently and which one is not so much. So yeah, these seems to be more related to the changes that we can see in our environment, like global warming and pollution, and human population getting too much and things like that. So we can see that in this report as well. Just a screenshot here. And this is the internal citizen displacement from natural disasters globally. So what this report is trying to do is give you the idea of how many people are getting affected, by certain natural disaster within the country. They're not like immigrating outside the country, but they are getting relocated or having problem with their accommodation, within the country and things like that. So here, I uploaded this in Tableau Public. For some reason it doesn't play. I have to do this manually like this. But this one actually does show, the year and then how it changed. So I have data starting from 2008 up to 2016. If you can see, the green is the highest number and the yellow is the least. So the displaced number of people, the max is 18 million. So that's in China in 2008. With whatever the events were, that many people were displaced from their homes in 2008. And in India, there were 6.6 million people. In India, there was a major earthquake, I believe, in India, and people were displaced. So if we can go and then go to the next year, still China and India. In 2008, 2010, there's 15 million, and in Pakistan is 11 million. So in 2012, again, India and China and Nigeria has 6 million people got affected. US seem to have 900,000. So if you notice the the majority of displaced number of people that occur mostly around this region right here, China, India, and Pakistan. I think our analysis is because these countries has the largest population, and any event will cause major disruption in those people because they just have too many people in their countries. Just a screenshot, and yeah, that's all I have on that part. I'll give it back to Bikash to go over this.
Thank you, Subhas, for that amazing presentation. Now, some of the other cases that we looked into was the natural disasters in Afghanistan for 2017. So basically, we looked into the various environmental hazards in Afghanistan, like earthquake, flooding, drought, landslide, and avalanches. So it has found that since 2000, there has been 9 major earthquakes in Afghanistan, and it was reported that at least 6,000 families were affected by earthquake, which resulted into various avalanches, flooding, landslide, and snowfall. So this is one of the dashboards and the visualization for the earthquake in Afghanistan. It looks like majority of the house majority were affected by the flood and flash floods, as well as the casualty was high due to the avalanches in the hilly and mountain regions. The other dashboard here shows about the families affected by the region. It looks like most of the families were in northern, eastern, and western region, uh, and then most of them were affected by the flash flood and the flood, and the least people were affected by the avalanches. So this is basically the explanation of these dashboards, where the first one shows the number of households destroyed by what type incidents, and the second one shows the death casualties in the different regions. So from Tableau, let's move into Google Analytics. We also did a little bit of research on Google Analytics. So, about the introduction of Google Analytics is a service offered by Google to track the website's traffic. If you have any website and you want to track who is accessing the website, from what region, and what is the demographic of those people accessing your website, then you can use Google Analytics. So it is a currently it is a mostly web analytics service on the internet. Google has two kind of subscription. You can subscribe to Google's Google Analytics 360 for enterprise users, and then also use can be used for for the applications on your mobiles and mobile phones or any device, and those are the iOS and Android applications. Google Analytics has a lot of capabilities regarding the web traffic and finding out the demographics of the people that are accessing your website. So it helps to understand the user by the continuous interaction every time every user access your website. It creates the data and it can be visualized for the better performance, and then it can be also be used for the marketing and see how the company is doing. So it also helps to get the most out of your data, and then uh, and also helps in the business intelligence to make the decisions. It also delivers data that is accurate, safe, and secure, and in one and controlled by the owner, and it is on sample, and it is not used by any third party. So we also in this research we also looked into some of the ideas about the integration of Tableau and Google Analytics. Uh, we can integrate Google Analytics into Tableau and help and create the visualization for the stakeholders to understand the company performance. First of all, the website should be registered to any Google Cloud platforms. In the Tableau, there is a connectivity, and you can connect directly to the various Google platforms like Google Analytics, Google Sheets, Google AdWords, BigQuery, and Cloud SQL. It provides end-to-end analytical solution without you having to have a physical storage because it's in the cloud, so you don't even need to have you do not need to have infrastructure for the physical storage. Here is one of the case study we did about the integration of Tableau and Google Analytics. Here is one of the website that I created for other class that I use in here. This website didn't have them did not have any traffic, and we just used this as an example, like how we can access that website through Tableau and Google Analytics. So first of all, I went and created the account in the Google Analytics, and the unique tracking ID for this website was created. And then if there was any data, or if there is any data in the future, I can get data and then use it for the visualization. Here are the screenshots. Here is the screenshot of the Tableau when I connected the Google Analytics website to Tableau. Through Tableau, it has all the, like, if you can see the account and then property, and then also see the date range, what date range you want to put to look up for the website traffics. And then we can create dimensions, and we can create dimension by region and age, and anything is any other demographic that you want to put. And this is the Google Analytics view where you can see the last 7 days. You can change these last 7 days to whatever range you want, and it says by country, and then what time, and other demographic stuff. Currently, we do not have any data, but we just use as a reference, and then as a, just for an example. So throughout our research, we face some issues, and we try to suggest and recommend some of the solutions for these issues. So first of all, it was very hard to get the data, and then the source data was very hard to get. We had to create our own data through using the graph they have presented. So we recommend to create a repository, a public free repository for environment data. This will help researchers like us and other people to understand the environmental patterns. And we also didn't see that many of information about the integration of Tableau and Google Analytics. So we suggest to find a better ways to integrate Tableau with the Google Analytics. In the conclusion, this project helped us to understand the data and create, and then use that data to visualize the environmental hazards, and also help us to create right ideas to plan this plan clear ideas and plans to reduce these hazards. And this research also help us to find the ways to integrate Tableau and Google Analytics to make the decision efficiently. At the end, these are all our references that we use. We have given the websites that we got, maybe we got data from, or any literature from. So these are all the references, and we have we have about 11 references in this research project. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us through our D2L emails. Thank you.